Hey folks, John Focus and Smart here. What are the 3 reasons an acceptance test can fail, an automated acceptance test? Imagine you've written a test suite and some of your tests have gone red. In fact, there are 3 reasons that any of these tests has gone red. And it's really important to be able to understand what those 3 categories are, to be able to identify which category you are in, and to be able to know what to do. Now, the first reason, the first category, is that the business rule has changed. We've had a change in the requirements, a new requirement has come in, or so maybe there's some legislation or some compliance rules, or the business want to use a different strategy, and a business rule has changed. In that case, when your application gets updated to reflect those new rules, your acceptance criteria that reflected that original business rule should break. If it doesn't, then the acceptance test is wrong. The acceptance test is a poor test. Imagine you have a test that checks that you calculate the correct sales tax value on a purchase, and the sales tax rate changes. If your acceptance test that verifies, yes, we calculate sales tax correctly, if that doesn't fail, then your test is wrong. But if it does fail, then your test is doing its job. It's just saying, yep, we were expecting a 20% sales tax. Now we're finding a 21% sales tax. But in fact, that's the new business rule. So that's absolutely fine. All you need to do in those cases is update your acceptance criteria, update your business rule to reflect the new requirements. And that is the normal routine of an acceptance criteria. In fact, if you're working in a test-driven approach, then you will already have updated that acceptance criteria before you start work to show that the feature needs changing. So this is the normal routine, and that's perfectly normal. That's good if you have that. The second reason is that something has happened in the application. Someone has made a change, and that has inadvertently broken the business rule, broken the acceptance criteria. So someone has introduced a new bit of logic that changes all of the tax rates to 15%. So suddenly our acceptance criteria that checks that the sales tax should be at 20% breaks. So congratulations, you've discovered a regression. The test, again, is doing its job. You don't need to do anything. You need to fix the bug. The third category, and this is the one that causes the most pain to testers, is the category of our flaky tests. When a test breaks because the application has changed for some reason, but the business rule is still valid, but the test breaks anyway. So this could be that the UI has changed at the where we display the tax, the calculated tax, and we have a field that says calculated sales tax or so forth, and that field has changed, so our test breaks. They're annoying tests. That's really a pain to work with, because it means we have to refactor our test. Our test still describes the right business logic, but it no longer can verify that the application does its job. So the art of writing stable, maintainable, good quality test automation is to keep those sort of tests, those sort of failures, to a minimum. And the way we can do that, I mean, I talk about it in a lot of the other videos in this series, but in a nutshell, the way to do that is to ensure that we are verifying behavior, verifying business outcomes, and not tying our tests to an implementation. So when we are testing that the sales tax is calculated correctly, if we are looking at a UI field, we are testing 10 different sales tax categories, and each time we are looking at a UI field, if that UI field changes and all our 10 tests break, even though the sales tax calculation is correct, that's rubbish. That means we have fragile tests. It would be more efficient to test our sales tax calculations directly against the API or the code itself, so that we don't have to rely on the UI at that level. Maybe we just need a single UI check to verify that we are displaying the correct sales tax on the page. So we can use strategies like that to reduce our dependencies on the implementation and really focus on testing the business outcomes. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for listening, folks.